So we're going to start by a musical number. The musical number is a song called Edelweiss, and there's a little story that goes behind the reason why we chose this song. So on Ethan's final day, we were in the hospital, and someone came in with an acoustic guitar. And for all of you who know Ethan really well, he's a jazz guy. And when you see someone come in with an acoustic guitar and just one solo acoustic guitar, you would know that it's maybe not the best thing. So all of our hearts dropped. We were a little nervous about what was going to happen next. Was it going to be Kumbaya? What exactly are we signed up for? It was a musical therapist, and she pulled out all the songs, and we were desperately looking for jazz. And we couldn't really find the right piece. But we found a song that was something of importance to Ethan, and it was a piece from The Sound of Music. I mentioned earlier, it's Edelweiss. So we're going to have Kenzie Robertson come up and kick that song off for us. So Kenzie and Janine. So we'll go ahead and get that started. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenzie and Janine. Appreciate that. Just grab this out. My name is Scott Jensen. I'm a friend of the family and just grateful to get to participate in this service today. Grateful to celebrate the wonderful life of Ethan. I'm so pleased to have so many here. There are more seats. There are seats here in the front still, and in the front area. Looks like we're getting more set up in the back. But please don't feel the need to stand. There are plenty of chairs in this building. We don't need to have anyone standing that doesn't want to be. So, we are going to begin now with an invocation offered by Ethan's brother Gavin Robertson. After Gavin, we will hear a eulogy from Ethan's sister Bonnie, and then from his father Jim and sister Rachel. And after that, I'll stand back up and give us a little more direction. But just grateful to be here together today and look forward to this opportunity to celebrate through both words and music the things that Ethan loves, and just look forward to this celebration together. So thanks for being here with us, and Gavin, come on up.
Dear kind Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be here today. We're grateful to gather as family and friends to celebrate the life of Ethan David Robertson. We're grateful for Ethan's life and for the memories that we've all shared with him. We ask thee to bless us with thy spirit and help us to feel the love as we gather together and share memories with one another. Please help us to remember all the great things about Ethan and all the wonderful things we've learned from him. Help us to remember his compassion, his love, and all the great things he shared with us. Help us to bring those things into our lives and to apply those things we've learned from him and make this world a little bit better of a place. Please bless us with comfort and that through Christ we can be united with him once again. Help us to feel comforted as we continue to mourn his loss. And these things we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I have a lot of papers. I'm asking you, should we get these? Ethan David Robertson was born on October 5th, 1993, sharing a birthday with her paternal grandmother, Nina. Edie boy. He could never escape being my little brother. I was 5 when he was born, and that age difference made him my baby. I held his hand many a night through his crib to help him fall asleep. Along with Gavin, I dressed Ethan up in fluffy dresses and ponytails. As the oldest Robertson kid, I perpetually struggled to remember the correct age of my siblings because while I can fathom my own aging, I cannot fathom theirs. Not that he was old. Ethan was just 29 when he passed away from a rare brain and spinal cancer on the morning of June 6th, the same day my father was born 70 years ago. Ethan had some real medical issues starting at 19 with an inexplicable stroke. He never fully recovered. A tremor in his hand took his ability to play piano at the skill level he had once been able to play. Migraines plagued him. This devastated Ethan in profound ways. My little brother struggled with anxiety and depression. How could he not after this trauma? The journals he left me confirm this. Not that I need further evidence. I want to pause here because I hope he would allow me to make something of them. So on Ethan's behalf, I want to urge anyone listening to seek help if you feel a dark weight that might be holding you captive. That urging doubles if you see a friend stuck by the weight. Life is truly too short to not allow others in to love you and help you through, and I'm so grateful for the friends and family who helped him through. In 2021, a tumor needed to be removed from his spine. He briefly lost the ability to walk, but do not underestimate Ethan's stubborn persistence. Gavin recalls how quickly Ethan learned to walk again, sharing that Ethan greatly outpaced him over a trip to the Grand Canyon soon after he completed his physical therapy. The next year he was diagnosed with cancer that took over his life and my parents' lives. How badly he wanted to finish his engineering degree and be a provider, to find love, build a home, and have children. How badly he wanted to live another day just being the fun uncle. And how badly we all wanted this for him, for us. We let him live in that world of possibility and hope, going to school and the library when he could between treatments. His tolerance for pain and suffering is astounding. He never wanted anyone to feel bad for him. Hence why some of you probably never knew he had cancer until he passed. This was a confounding situation for us as his family, but one we tried to honor as best we could. Ethan did have a full life. He loved music, mostly jazz. In high school, he studied under the legendary tutelage of Mr. Sandoval. He excelled at saxophone and the keys. He was an incredibly confident performer in high school theater as well. He was into debate, history, and politics too, and found creative musical ways to submit school reports with his friends. Ethan felt most at home in his hometown here of Stockton. He went on to take private lessons at UOP and become part of a band that performed at Black gospel churches and at weddings. He truly loved learning and studying, and as he continued his education at Delta College, Antelope Valley College, UC Berkeley, and Utah Valley University, he found an appreciation of math and science. He accomplished an AA in math and went on to pursue an engineering degree. Sitting and listening to his grandparents and other seniors tell their stories or share a lesson about a topic of interest was a treasured experience for Ethan. He truly understood the art of listening. He was an analog creature with a weakness for YouTube videos and only had a phone because his sisters insisted he must. Y'all, he was hopelessly in love with women. A terrified romantic. Ethan would try to fool you with this sometimes seemingly uninterested way, rarely responding to texts or calls, and certainly never calling me unless I called him first. But he is a gentle soul, one who yearned for connection, always. He doted on his nieces and nephews, Olivia, Nolan, Peyton, AJ, and the newest addition, Rowan, connecting with each of them uniquely, playfully, and always at their level. In fact, he was great with kids of all ages. The work that brought him the most joy involved teaching, tutoring, grading, or leading academic clubs. He aspired to be a professor. Ethan greatly admired our paternal grandfather, a doctor in psychology and guidance counselor, and following in his footsteps felt right. Posthumously, Ethan did receive his engineering degree from Utah Valley University, thanks to our sister Rachel's work to ensure his academic pursuits were commemorated and finalized. He would have been embarrassed by this, we think, having felt he didn't put in the work, but Ethan would most certainly have completed this degree if not stopped by his illnesses through his life, and the institution agreed. Teachers have shared that Ethan had a genuine curiosity for his studies, and that he in turn shared what he learned with enthusiasm. It was contagious. He had raw talent and brilliance, but as his siblings can attest, he was also insanely stubborn, persistent to the point of insanity, and a bit grumpy. And the hole that is left is profound. We are now 5 siblings without our dear brother, our 6th. Our parents have had to face the worst thing a parent can face, a child passing before their own time has come. For me, I've lost a sibling and a lifelong friend. We could talk about anything and everything, or we could sit in silence just fine. I have fond memories of outdoor adventures around California, evening strolls in Santa Rosa, and a very special visit to Boston and Salem to meet my daughter. As his oldest sister, keeper of his secrets, and writer in the family, I am moved by his commitments to write regularly, honestly, sometimes heartbreakingly. And as his older sister, I pushed him when I thought he needed it and was a soft place for him too. As his oldest sister, I found tremendous joy in seeing him and my husband John play piano together a number of times, Ethan one-handed. John treated him as he would a little brother. The natural way they connected was when I knew John was the one. Thanks, Ethan. Ethan was and is so beloved. I believe that he knew and felt that in his time. I wanted to share about his final day because I think it was very moving. We, Ethan's family, are still in awe over the deeply spiritual, confounding, and beautiful afternoon his siblings, parents, and the 2 of his beloved uncles were able to have with him before he shuffled off. I want to share. In Ethan's final months, he lost his hearing. My daughter Peyton and I did our best to call him every day with subtitles, and he found ways of communicating, but it was horrible for someone who loved music so much. His eyesight was fading and went suddenly at the end of his life. His final medical adventure was a tough one, and by the time all of us had rushed to his side in an ICU, now on hospice, the doctors told us that this was it and he probably couldn't feel or sense us there. We touched his hands, hoping he might feel our comfort. We placed music on his chest from a phone, his favorite songs. We couldn't be sure at first, but we noticed a slight, then definite grip. He began to hold our hands back. Logan placed Ethan's hands on his bald head to let him know who it was. Emma put his hands on her glasses. His hands danced with excitement to feel his siblings present, but especially his youngest sister. Then he began to tap to the music. We were in awe, he could feel it. The timeline gets blurry for all of us. We got swept up in the utter magic of what happened next, and you must know we were on very little sleep at this point. It all happened pretty quickly. The glazed, death look in Ethan's eyes disappeared and he could see. The music? It was sometimes in his imagination, but he heard the music we were playing too. He couldn't speak, but who needs words? These are clips seared in my mind. I can't promise they are chronological. Ethan gripping my father's hands in his hands and dancing them through the air to the beat of the music, watching a video Logan is playing for him, his foot kicking to the beat. Ethan seeing drawings his beloved nieces and nephews drew for him and lighting up. Logan holding Ethan's head to his, so moved. Ethan really wanting to get up and go home. We told him the doctors needed him to stay here. He kept trying to get up. We told him to wait for Gavin to show. All of us urging Ethan to rest. Rest? I cannot rest, he mouths very clearly, a frenzied, excited, calm, and determined look in his eyes. Ethan looking at me intently and mouthing an incoherent lecture at me. At least that's my take. His eyes gleam with the wisdom and knowledge he's imparting to me. I didn't tell you there were 2 other people in the room. Rachel's husband Dylan and their newborn. I am in awe over these 3 and the journey they went on during such a fragile time for their family to see Ethan off. Ethan gestures to his chest and looks intently at Rachel, holding her 3-week-old, Rowan Ethan Murray. Rachel lays her baby down into the crook of our brother's arm. Not a dry eye in the house, including Ethan. And then the Ethan humor, he mouths, big baby. Surrounded just by his sisters, each of us holding his hands or his feet, he hears music in his mind and his hands rush out of ours to catch the notes in his head to the piano in the air. He's sitting up in a chair, bobbing his head to jazz we have playing, looking really angry at all of us for not letting him rip his catheter out and oxygen tubes off his face. Rachel tenderly helping him suck on some water and ice, keeping his mouth from drowning. Gavin arrives and Ethan is up and moving. He walks down the hospital hall with a walker, a baffled line of family members, and a number of confused nurses looking on. He pauses, tired. My Uncle Alan massages his temples. Feeling the love surrounding him, he soldiers on. Our wise beyond her years nurse sets us up outside. It is one of those perfect spring days in Utah. The hospital is on the side of a mountain. There are red rocks, flowers. We're in the shade of the building, but the sun is out. We form a circle of chairs around Ethan, watching on in dreamlike day's splendor as he listens to music, bobbing his head, tapping hand. He is so joyful and free. He tries to rip his catheter out again. I step in to restrain him. He gets mad, tries to kick me. The nurse says, "We'll take it out then." Bless her. But that is out. But he is tired. So the procession files back into his hospital room. A Berkeley School of Music trained music therapist comes in. She plays Edelweiss, George on My Mind, and Book Next Back Pocket. Ethan wants out of these hospital clothes. He has been rushed there, and so had everyone else. There are no extra clothes. Gavin rummages for the 2 shirts he packed. Ethan chooses the one with the buffalo. Gavin's hands in Ethan's hair, Logan's hands gripping Ethan's hand. The last image I have of my 3 brothers together. Ethan looking over at me and absolutely lighting up. He leans over and gives me a big hug. This is big. Something he has never done willingly in his adult years. After Ethan has passed back out and gone to sleep, and we take a bit of our dreamlike, we're shaken a bit from this dreamlike trance, the doctor informs us that the medical explanation for this sensory return is probably a concoction of steroids that they had used for him, and that it decreased the swelling in his brain. That wasn't their intention, but that swelling decretion gave him the senses back. And she does remind us that Ethan's body is very tired. It's time to say goodbye. We surround Ethan with touch and words and play Little Darlin' by Count Basie Orchestra. Thunder cracks. Warm rain suddenly falls outside, and a lark from the large hospital window. My brother, a plubophile, or lover of rain, would approve. In true Ethan fashion, a lesson in the end. A jazzy improvisation, nothing planned, but we were practiced and ready as a family band. We love you, Ethan.
Just leave them now. Present for children, and I'm present with my children, and they were just wonderful help as Ethan was struggling. And I was talking to somebody how nice it is to have a lot of children when things like this happen. Hint, hint to my children. We could use some more, wouldn't hurt at all. But I'm just changing my talk. I think I was impressed with what Brian was saying by learning. And I know you knew Ethan, but boy, he really loved learning. I didn't know how much. And he was struggling because of the sicknesses and finish a different course. And part of the problem was he wanted to do everything. He loved physics, he loved engineering. We didn't love engineering so much. I said, I kind of encouraged that because it's easier to get a job. And but Ethan was right in what he did. Picking up stuff. He would go to the library and study for 8 hours at a time. And it wasn't just things, it was really interesting intellectual stuff, history, and another thing after. My dad was a PhD, and Sue's dad both loved history. And my dad loved to have Ethan come in because the rest of us couldn't quite keep up with my dad, but he loved to talk to Ethan about those sort of things. And he never quite was able to get the degree because he just couldn't get through it towards the end. But he kept struggling with it. But it's not a loss. You know, we look at the degrees this far, but you have to look at it in an eternal perspective. It's a wonderful quote from the Doctrine and Covenants. Whatever principle of intelligence we attain unto in this life, it will rise with us in the resurrection. And if a person gains more knowledge and intelligence in this life through his diligence and obedience in another, he will have so much advantage in the world to come. Ethan was loaded with information and could talk on numerous topics. It got to the point where I had to kind of hide from him because I thought I could help him with his engineering, but he was, and I got kind of rusty over the years for one thing. But then I really got stuck into chemistry, which I thought I was pretty good at. But he was saying you know, quantum mechanics, and I was doing with other things. And so I had to almost hide from him sometimes because it would be scary what he'd drive me through. So he was, I wish I could have done a little bit better, to tell you the truth, on those things. The thing that gave me the comfort was the Savior, his atoning sacrifice. This life, President Nelson said it like he said, this is a nanosecond. Time we're living right now is a nanosecond. You have infinite on either side. When we pass away, we're not going to have any of these problems. Ethan, when he died, just like Jesus died on the cross, he went as he wanted to see his Father. He was in the spiritual. The body that we got to get here is very corruptible. It's designed that way. We're not supposed to be here that long. These things we learn are going to go. Well, Ethan, when he died, he's like the Savior. He went to heaven. And the Savior came back 3 days later. And body, he's the first one in heaven. The rest of us can get that too. We're going to desire to have this body too. But he's up there right now, and there's a pretty good little statement by Brigham Young. I know why you want to see usual stuff, but I think you'll like the story. And this is what he said. He did experience this. If we can see things as they are, and that we shall see and understand them, this dark shadow valley is so trifling that we shall turn around and look upon it and think, when we have crossed it, why this is the greatest advantage of my whole existence, for I have passed from a state of sorrow, grief, mourning, woe, misery, pain, anger, and disappointment into a state of existence where I can enjoy life to the fullest extent, as far as that can be done without the body. No more suffering. He can see us, but we can't see him. Anyway, having that thought made it so very fair. I'm sad to have you gone. I want to tell Ethan loved his nieces and nephews, and I want you to know, I can guarantee you're going to see him someday. That's going to be the truth. He's not suffering. We're suffering. Not fair, is it? And so those things kept me going as the season went along. I told someone else I don't want to forget that. I want to have a little bit of help. But it's also peaceful. I'll see if there's anything else I wanted to say, whatever it was, but I don't want to take up any more time. I'll wear you guys out if I do. I thank all of you for coming. I'm really surprised. I tell someone else that they did the same thing for me. There might be one or two people. So thank you all for listening. I really appreciate the notes and letters that came. They mean something because of the Savior. Though it's not him and the things, they would just be empty words, but they have meaning because he is. So thank you very much.
There's a lot more than I thought there was going to be. I wouldn't have planned to talk if I knew we were going to Hello everyone, my name is Rachel and I'm one of Ethan's younger sisters. I wrote a letter to Ethan that I want to share with y'all, but before I do that, I think it's important that I acknowledge some people. I know Ethan would have wanted that, and I wrote this on the card right here, so I'll probably just say some people, so I apologize. I want to thank all the medical staff who have assisted Ethan in his care for the last 10 years, specifically those at University of Utah and Intermountain Health. To all of his teachers, no matter what subject you taught, you brought Ethan joy to his life and his passion to learn and constantly evolve. To everyone who joined us here today in person or virtually, a special thanks to those friends and family who visited him during his last year of life. To everyone from my childhood church, the state, and my parents' board in Utah for supporting, loving, and providing to us as we grieve Ethan. All the food was donated by church members. This whole building, the setup, and everything that was done by our childhood church, which is pretty awesome. We're really lucky to have grown up here. And lastly, to my parents, who raised one hell of a son. Dear Ethan, I listened to different versions of the song Amazing Grace to get me in the right headspace to talk about you. I can't remember your musical stance on the song. I have a feeling you judged me for this musical choice. The last month and a half without you hasn't felt real. There's 5 stages of grief and I'm only at denial, and I hope I stay there forever because I can't imagine my life without you and I don't want to know what it's like. Since you've passed, any free moment I've had has been dedicated to planning your celebration. Hence the word celebration. I've just really tried to make this happy for everyone to gather and remember how amazing you are. You would laugh though, because you'd be able to see right through that exterior. You know I'm not happy and that everyone in the family has drove me crazy by this point. It's true. Yesterday we had a barbecue to gather before your celebration, and I kept thinking I'd turn the corner and see you. I could imagine exactly how you'd sit at the dinner table, or what you'd wear, or your mannerisms at the event. It's such a weird feeling to try to imagine you not here. I wonder if I'll always look for you. I hope I do. Ethan, I kept thinking about our childhood together. I think of the lineage of siblings. Bonnie, then Logan, then Gavin, then you, then me, then Emma. You, then me. That was my whole entire life. I never had a life without you until now. Most of my memories with the sibling have been with you and or Emma as the younger 3 of the 6 siblings. I think about how growing up, you held the typical older brother stance with me and basically physically and emotionally abused me for most of our childhood. Seriously, how did I never win in a fight with you? I was taller than you for most of that childhood. You were kind of a sassy jerk then too, and to be fair, you were to your very last day. I laughed at the time when we were kids and you forgot your wallet on the plane and you blamed it on me, even though it wasn't my fault. You were so convincing it was my fault that you even got my dad mad at me for you forgetting your wallet. Seriously, that's a jerk move. The only time I won in a fight was when we played the game you made up called Miss Cooking Teacher. I was a teacher who whipped you and Emma with a blanket, and you guys for some reason thought it was fun. I wonder how many people here got the privilege of meeting your alter ego, Bubba and Babusa, that you did with your hands. I can't demonstrate it because I would not do it justice, but it was truly iconic. Do you remember when everything changed for us and we started to get along? Was there an exact moment where we stopped hating each other and became friends? I'm not sure if it was our close age, but I feel like we knew what each other were thinking at any given time. The last trip we took together was a day trip to Stockton. We went to our old high school, Sonic Drive-Thru, Target, UOP, all of the spots, but not many spots here. What started as a fun day where we joked and laughed and definitely made fun of Dad a lot started to change. I could see your spirit sadden as the day went on. You told me that being here made you sad because it reminded me of what your life used to be, and I so badly wanted to take your pain away. All I ever wanted was to take your pain away. I'm sorry that I couldn't. Ethan, I don't think I ever told you how proud I am of you. I remember the exact moment that this overwhelming sense of pride took over me. It was our Christmas band concert. I was in 6th grade and you were in 8th grade. I played the flute, not well I should add. You performed Let It Snow on the saxophone as a solo and you didn't make a single mistake. You got a standing ovation and I sat there and cried. So moved about a song about snow. Every musical performance you ever played made me cry, to your very last day. I loved how happy music made you. You transformed in front of our eyes, so passionate, so earnest, so talented. Not only that, but I have so many memories with you showing me different types of artists, trying to get me to match a pitch or learn a beat. You never gave up on me being a hopeless musician, even though you informed me that I was in fact tone deaf. I just have to add, remember when you liked Michael Bublé's music? That was an odd period for you. I don't think I ever told you how sorry I was that cancer and tumors and a stroke took that from you. Despite these disabilities, you kept trying. You never gave up. I admire you for that. I think everyone does. Ethan, I wonder if people were ever threatened or annoyed with you for how smart you were. I never felt that way by you, though. You loved to teach anyone willing to listen about any subject you were currently interested in. I remember when you made me do math equations on a Saturday evening at college because I wasn't so good in that subject and you made it so fun. I never laughed so much learning. I always thought you'd make a great teacher. You spent your free time at libraries, bookstores, and clubs in college learning, but yet I never asked why you loved learning so much you made it into a hobby. During your time studying mechanical engineering, I remember you nonchalantly telling me you wanted to change your degree to astrophysics because you thought you'd be bored as an engineer. Which almost feels comical hearing from me since I have a degree in Parks and Recreation, which is basically a made-up degree. What I always found interesting about you is despite the fact that you were a nerd, you were always on top of it with pop culture too. We would hang out and recite lines from New Girl, discuss Ariana Grande's new album, or who was dating who in the celebrity world. It's weird thinking of something that you would enjoy but realizing you won't be here to experience it. For example, I absolutely know we would have texted each other about the new Barbie movie. To be honest, I have a feeling you're actually a little pissed you're missing out on seeing it. Ethan, when I gave my son your name as his middle name, I remember being so scared to hear your reaction. I usually had a pretty good read on you, and I often knew how you feel on a matter before even talking to you. I thought that you wouldn't like that I wanted to name him after you. When I told you during Christmas time, the last time we were together, and you responded with cool with a big smile, I tried to hide my tears. I never told you this, but during that time I had silently hoped that I wouldn't have a boy, because to me having a boy would solidify what I knew deep down was true, that you were gonna leave me. Rowan Ethan came exactly 3 weeks before you passed. At this point, you were feeling pretty sick and I had the baby blues. I send you pictures occasionally, and you would respond and tell me I made a big baby. When you met Rowan, when we came to see you in the hospital, you mouthed big baby and then stared deeply into my eyes. Your eyes said 1,000 words to me. I'll never know what it's like to see you play with him, teach him about math and music. Do you really expect me to do that? I only passed math because of you and Dad. It's not fair that he didn't get to know you and you didn't get to know him. After you passed, I looked up the name Ethan. Funny enough, I never did that before because naming him after you was good enough. But I finally looked it up when you passed, and I read that the name Ethan meant firm, enduring, strong, and long-lived. When I read that Ethan, I thought to myself that it all made sense now. It made sense why you were given that name, because no one held up to those actions just as much as you did. You are exactly what your name means and more. Ethan, I guess I'll finish just by saying thank you. Thank you for being the best brother. Thank you for making my life fun and silly and serious. For being a lifelong friend in all the happiest and darkest times. For being someone I can look up to. For being you. Your life and legacy will live on, I can promise you that, because just like your name says, you are long-lived. I hope that wherever you chose to go when you passed, music is playing, there's endless books, and a little pop culture too. And wherever you are, Ethan, I hope that you no longer feel anxious or scared. I hope that you're at peace and know that we're all so proud of you. Love, your favorite sibling. It's true. Your sister, Rachel.
I just want to let you know that not just the church members contributed, all of his friends and people that they've known for years and years and years brought to this one.
Thanks, Janine. It is a special thing always to be able to participate in the celebration of life. Humans are cool. Every one of us is special and amazing, and it's always so touching to hear the stories of life. My family moved here to Stockton in 2006. Ethan was 12, I think, at the time that we moved here, about to turn 13. And shortly after that at church, which is where I got to know the family, I was called into working with the young men. And so I got to spend a fair amount of time with Ethan. And Ethan was always so curious and engaged. Other kids, you had to try to get them to pay attention, and Ethan was always on top of it. He wanted to know the next thing. He was ready to learn. He was thinking beyond what you were thinking and asking really good, deep questions. And I loved the opportunity to spend time with Ethan. A few years later, our son, who's about 6 years younger than Ethan, was going to start playing the saxophone. I had never touched a saxophone before. I had no idea when we were trying to buy one how to know what was a good saxophone. So I called Ethan up, and Ethan's like, "Deal, I'll meet you wherever the person is that's selling it, and I'll let you know." So we arranged a three-way meeting, a person selling a saxophone, Ethan and me, at the Sinclair on Hammer Lane in El Dorado. And Ethan was there, looked it over, gave us the approval. I paid the guy what he was asking because Ethan said it was worth that much. And our son got to start playing the saxophone, which I'm assuming he decided he wanted to play because Ethan was so cool. Right? Sometime after that, I don't remember when we started, Gavin and Ethan and I don't and Bobby, I don't remember exactly how we came up with the idea, but I think in part my wife and I were looking for ways to help our kids like music even more. And so we developed this idea of a music night, which really meant Gavin and Ethan would bring their friends over and play really cool music while we listened. Okay? And we would go for hours. And I was amazed. It did not matter what instrument. Ethan would just start playing it and was good at it. He could do anything, right? Any instrument. He seemed to know how to play it. And I was like, what is going on? Have you ever touched that one before? And he'd say, oh yeah, like last week I tried. But we would play music, we'd sing, we'd have a good time together. It was wonderful. Of course, their family moved after that, and I actually thought Ethan was gone with them as well until one day I happened to go, I hardly ever went to the cafeteria on campus at Pacific where I teach, and I got some food there and sat down, and then Ethan was like 2 tables over. I was like, what are you doing here? I went over, sat down with him, we had a good chat. He was reading, by the way, a book about the Wright brothers by David McCullough that's like this thick. And we had a good chat. And then the last time I got to be with Ethan in person was actually the same day that Rachel talked about, that they came by to visit us at our home. And Ethan was clearly not able to be what he wanted to be. We sat down and played a little music, and he touched the keys a little bit, listened as our daughter played some music to him, and it was a special time to just be able to see Ethan and just share with him how much we loved and cared for him as well. We just need to be grateful that the Robertsons were willing to come see us that day as well, as they were seeing the few, I guess, things to see in Stockton. The family would like to be able to open this time now to the sharing of more such memories or condolences, thoughts about Ethan. So we welcome anyone who wants to be able to share. We do ask you to be mindful of time. I was checking to see if we have an ending time, if we're putting a limit. We're just going to open it up and see how it goes. And so please, if you have something you'd like to share with the family or just about an experience with Ethan, we'd love for you to come up here. I'm not going to move the mic up and down, so if you'll just grab it and hold it up close to you, that'll work well for everyone to hear. But please come and share with us. As it seems to dwindle at some point, I'll stand back up and introduce the end of this, because we've got more music coming. In fact, I think a lot of music. So those who want to share, please come do so. By the way, you pulled it out by pulling it forward, push it back in like this. It's pretty easy.
Hello, everyone. My name's Chad McAfee. I moved to Stockton in 2000 with my family and was part of the church, part of the board, lived here in the same neighborhood with the Robertsons. It probably wasn't a day for probably 8 years that I didn't see Ethan, or never more than a week, families were gone or whatever. I always loved going to the Robinson's house and undoubtedly walking up to the front door to hear music playing, hear Ethan playing. One thing I'm really impressed with kind of being here today is seeing that how much the Robertsons and Ethan influenced me in my life. Something that, as time has gone on, I know who I am, but it's really beautiful to see where it came from, particularly that unique Robertson stoicism, kind of the stiff upper lip that all the Robertsons seem to have, and the great capacity that they have, and Ethan was a great exemplar of that. In 2019, out in Utah, I met with Gavin and Ethan and Scott Nelson. We were playing music and hanging out, having a good time. I don't remember what else happened, but eventually it was just Ethan and I. I I don't know where everyone else went, what we're doing. So it was a warm summer evening, and we just went for a walk. And over the years, Ethan, San Ramon, here in Stockton, I was at the school at BYU. You know, so we just walked around and caught up. It was a warm summer night, beautiful. And, you know, we just talked about everything. And I was able to, you know, see that intense man that he became, you know, just for a long time. I remember him as, yeah, you know, Gavin's little brother, Logan, Gavin's little brother, you know. And it was truly amazing, you know. So it came to a shock when I heard the news, but you know, I was always amazed with the man who he became and how, you know, it's hard to explain, and it was shared so succinctly by his siblings, and it's just, you know, I'm very grateful for the effect that Ethan has had on my life, and, you know, the example he has been for me for his curiosity, intensity, and passion. So I hope to carry that with me. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Peebles, and I'm Ethan's fourth grade teacher. I know. So, what I very distinctly remember is that he came with this great family who adopted a daughter that year, right? And that his sisters took Highland dancing for my daughter that year. So once we can see that in my garage. This is what I remember about Ethan, and I've had hundreds of students, and you don't forget your students, you love them all, but it's hard to remember every single thing, but I very distinctly remember a discussion that Ethan and I had. Apparently, there was something, I don't even remember what the issue was, but he disagreed with me on something. With conviction, he disagreed with me. And I remember thinking at the time, wow, this young man is taking me on and for a really good time. And that he was doing it with such poise and such perseverance. And I kept thinking, this young man's gonna grow up to be a great man. And he did, and it's so good to hear your guys' testimonies. What a great human being Ethan was. So thank you for sharing.
Hello, my name is Rich Harlow, and I have one tiny little slice to share with this lightning bolt of a human being known as Ethan. I was a theater director at Bear Creek for a number of years, and for some reason we decided to do a play that was incredibly difficult. I don't know why we did. Ethan auditioned. I said, "You're cast." The dilemma was the nature of the show was the set revolved between Act 1 and Act 2. And in Act 2, the play was going on behind the set, which was what Act 1 was. So the audience would watch Act 1, we'd turn the set around, and you would get to see in Act 2, from the audience's point of view, this sort of behind-the-scenes look of what a show really happens, where actors hate each other, and they're angry, and they're mean to each other. But it was the other side of the set that you didn't see, that we had no idea what to do. And I had directed myself into a pickle because I had no idea how to direct what was on the front and what was on the back at the same time. And then this bolt of lightning came in, and I credit Joe. Joe's jazz. Ethan took the back of the stage and he just ran it. It was like he knew what the rhythm of the show was supposed to be. He knew where the lines were supposed to go. He knew when actors were supposed to come in and off and back and forth. We never would have done it had it not been for Ethan. But the most fantastic thing was it's a 2-story set. So you have to build that kind of well. Because you put your kids in danger if you don't, and this is a bad thing. But there was one particular line that Ethan had where he runs into it, and it's a farce. So it's just moving at the speed of light, which was perfect for Ethan. But he runs into an upstairs door, and he's looking for a box, and he can't find it. And he opens the door, and he runs back out, and he says, "The box is gone." That's the only line. But each night, he would hit the railing with more and more intensity. So he would open the door, and at first it was the box is gone. And then he would open the door, and he'd grab the railing, and the box is gone. And pretty soon he's opening the door, and he's flinging himself up on this railing, which was securely built, but should we really test it this much? The box is gone. And it was a fabulous moment. Everybody loved it. And I was kind of cringing. It's kind of like, I sure hope those 4x4 posts hold up that railing. We made it through, and everything was wonderful and great. But the real wonderful thing that I will close, because I can't stop talking. At the end of, that was the last show of the year, and so we would have a tradition in the theater where we light what we call the ghost light. And in theater, they put a light up on the stage so that people don't wander out on the stage and fall into the orchestra pit. You put the ghost light up, and it was a goodbye for the cast members, and particularly the seniors. And we would bring the ghost light to the center of the stage. We'd stand in a circle, and we would always finish with this. And this is where I will finish. To cry at each farewell is to have hope of yet another meeting. And every time we did that with our kids, we lit the ghost lamp. We renewed that sort of spiritual energy that, like, okay, this show is done. And there are a lot of tears. And Bobby Wiley knows this. There are a lot of tears. There's a lot of emotions. But there's always that hope of yet another meeting. I hope, that's what I hope, whether it's a shooting star or a new star or something like that. That's where Ethan is for me in my heart. The hope of another meeting.
I was hoping 3 people in and try to have it. Sorry, a little bit more together. I met Ethan probably April 2014. And I think I remember that because I think I was so impressed by him. And I like Gavin, but Ethan was pretty cool. And over the years, I got to know Ethan more and more. I just kind of alluded to, and we've talked about Ethan's mind and everything, and his intelligence, and it was alluded by his sisters, but he was funny. And more importantly, he kind of thought I was funny, so that was cool. But the more I got to know Ethan, the more I liked. And he was many different things, but he was also a really good friend. And I feel honored to have known him and to have been his friend, and that he was my friend. And I'm gonna miss him. But I love him. I'm glad that we're all able to hear and be able to talk to him. I love hearing all these other stories that I wasn't able to or didn't know about. Unfortunately, I knew him. In the mix of all the issues, I can tell he was a brilliant musician, but bummed I didn't get to see the full blunt of that, I guess. But he was just, he's a good friend, and I don't know. I love him. I don't know.
Hello. I'm going to tell you 3 stories of Ethan and I. Hopefully, cheer everybody up a little bit. I'm Kudgeon, and I also live around the neighborhood and got to spend a good amount of time with Ethan in his childhood. So, I'll tell you 3 stories that hopefully will show what kind of character Ethan was. If you guys had any other doubts. So there was one time that Ethan and I were going to get together, and he mentioned, you go running? I was like, yeah, sure, let's go running. And then it was summer. I think we were just finishing middle school, so it was going to be like the cusp of going into high school. And he introduced cross country. And he's like, we're gonna go, and they do this before the high school starts, and, let's do it. And I was like, okay, nice. I came in black pants, a button-up shirt, and I show up there, everybody's in shorts, and I'm thinking, oh, we're going running. I don't think I made it that far. Probably got, where did we start? I think it was the park near John Muir, and then we ran towards the high school, and then I think I got maybe just at the end of the park, and I was done. That was it for me. So that was a day. That was a pretty funny day. I didn't really catch on to the let's go running. It's my bad. Another story of Ethan and I. We were going to ride our bikes. We love riding our bikes to Trinity, and there are a couple ways we would do it. That darn gate. We couldn't always get past. We'd have to throw the bikes over and climb over. Well, one time I wore these great cargo shorts. And cargo shorts have pockets. Well, those gates have a strike. I got stuck. And then I was like hanging, and I was like, oh, Ethan, help me. And he could have left me. But too bad he's a good guy. So I was able to, be saved by him because I was a little too heavy for him. So, we did that maneuver and got out safe. Little hole in cargoes. And one last little story was, I think, around, I want to say, at the Delta College era. We were going, luckily, him and I had classes, in the morning, so we commuted together. And it was a minivan. He was driving a minivan. He would drive a minivan, he'd gas it really hard, and then let go, and then there was this indicator of miles per gallon, and so it'd go 99. And so he's like, look how much gas we're saving! Don't tell his mother, but sometimes he'd let go of the wheel on the highway, and he's like, oh my God, you better drive, we're gonna crash. We never crashed. That's a couple stories I had, and hopefully that makes it a little bit better. Thank you.
to mention two things. This was painted by Todd Matthew, who's Chad's brother. And I just think it captures so much about the things that people have talked about. And I just want you to know that when Ethan came into my son Scott's life, there was this whole new wonderful friend. And this group of boys that bring music together, friends at high school, friends at Delta, friends at UT, on and on, just have a very special bond. And I guess it's music, but I think it's also something about their hearts. I really do. And that's all I was going to say. Hi, Scott Nelson.
Hi, I'm Joe Sandoval. I'm top band at Bear Creek High School and had the privilege of being Ethan's jazz ensemble director for 4 years. And I'm here to shatter some appreciation of Ethan. Because there are days, I just have to be honest, he made me crazy. But on the other hand, there are also days when I'd say, you know, I want to play a recording for you, and this is so-and-so, and before I could even get it out of my mouth, he'd say, oh, Marcelo, is that the 1987 recording? Or is that the 1968 recording? Or is that when he was in Europe? And was that when he was a band that had, he would list all the artists? Or was it, and he would have so much information, it was just overwhelming. And I would just say, just listen. And he and I shared a lot in common. You know, he was like, I could see myself in him in so many ways. And at the same time, he just was so amazing, so often. Some of the things that he played were just crazy, and crazy in a good way. And so I always appreciated so much all he contributed to the ensemble, in spite of the fact that he did crazy. But I just wanted to share one instance where I can't even remember where we were performing. We love to get out and perform in the community. And it was one of those community performances, and Ethan had this solo. When he got into a solo, he got lost. And it was awesome. It was just amazing. And so when we were done, this lady came up, and she just looked at me for a minute, and she said, he is amazing. I said, yeah, he's really good. And she stopped me, she said, no. He has the maturity of a real artist. He really has the soul of an artist. I said, absolutely right. And I said, I can't imagine what he's going to go with this, but it's really, really awesome what he's accomplished. And I can only end today with saying that if you believe that he continues, there's got to be one amazing jam session going on right now. And I wish I could hear it, because it's got to be just phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you to those who shared again with us today. I would like to hear that jam session. I think we're going to sort of get to hear something similar. Maybe I'll be playing along somewhere there as well. We're going to finish the, I don't know if we call this the beginning portion of the meeting, listening to another musical number, Little Darling. It which is going to be played by Andrew Clark, I believe, who is thankfully filling in for us. Then we will have a closing prayer offered by Ethan's uncle, Scott Robertson. And following that, we're going to turn it back to Logan, who's going to introduce some live music that'll be going for us, and I believe there'll be some refreshments available at that time as well. So I'll turn it over to Andrew Clark, who will play Little Darling for us, and again followed by Scott Robertson.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful that we could gather here today to remember and honor the life of Ethan Robertson. We've heard today that he has touched the lives of many with his knowledge, his goodness, his talents, and his wonderful time that he's spent with everyone and helping them. We are grateful that he was born to good and loving parents and a loving family that supported him as he supported them. We've had many times and associations with Ethan, and help us to remember those times and heal the sadness that we feel at his passing. We ask thee now to watch over those that have traveled, that they may return to their homes in safety. In these things we say in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
So my message is real simple before we get to the next part. It's we can't have a celebration of life, of Ethan's life, without having a celebration of music. So we're gonna have pretty much full jazz show for you guys tonight. And we hope that you guys stay. This, of course, is not a mandatory part, but we are going to entice you with food. So outside those doors, we will have food, and I believe even food in the back. So please feel free, make yourself at home, grab some food, and enjoy some jazz. Thank you.
You can do 2-3 more.
Come on and off then.
Hey, everybody. We're just approaching our last two here, so we can just first get a round of applause for our musicians. We've got Ryan, Alex, Long, Mindy, and Daniel. Thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your gifts with us. My name is John. I am Ethan's brother-in-law, husband of Bonnie, Ethan's older sister. And I just wanted to give a little context on the last two here that we're going to end with. So for about 6 months before Ethan's passing, we had the great privilege of being able to spend time with Ethan on Zoom. We live in Boston, Ethan is in Salt Lake City. So we were able to connect, and Ethan was able to share with us some of his favorite tunes that were meaningful to him during his lifetime. Many of those tunes we've heard here, and again, thank you to the bands for playing them, and many of you who played with Ethan as well during his life. The last tune that they're going to play is called Quartermaster. Quartermaster is a tune that Ethan shared pretty early on with us, and that he was particularly drawn to. This style of music, for any of you who've been to New Orleans, is kind of second lines, marching band inspired type music. Second line music is actually has its origins in funeral marches.
If you can imagine, the mortars would be up in front mourning during a march, and then the second line behind them would be friends and family and community in celebration of the deceased. And Ethan shared this with us pretty early on, and we didn't realize it at the time, but our sense is he actually shared this perhaps knowing that one day we would be mourning him to this tune. And so with that, just want to kick off Quartermaster in celebration of Ethan. That's the last tune for the day. Thank you.